Us is CTV News political commentator Scott Reid. Hi there, Scott.
Hey, Marcia.
What are you expecting to come out of this meeting?
Well, if recent history is any indication, probably not much. The Prime Minister tends to be pretty tight-lipped about these discussions. His office will say to you constantly, we are not going to negotiate in public. We're not going to talk to you about where the talks are at. We're not going to talk to you about what's on the table. We're not going to talk to you about who's at the table, because we don't want to compromise any of our flexibility by rushing out to the ramparts. But I will be watching to see if we get any kind of substantive update. In particular, will we get any hints of a plan B? So far, the Prime Minister has allowed not one whit for the possibility that we might not get a deal on August 1st. Will he begin to start to say, listen, if we can't get a deal, then we're going to do A, B, and C. So we're also talking about that. So I'll be watching to see what does he have to say substantively about the state of the talks. My guess is not much. And second, will he start to double track, as they say, strategically, allow for both the possibility of success, but also failure?
This is obviously a huge test for the new Prime Minister. What is his political calculation right now when it comes to how Canada responds?
You know, that's a more interesting subject than people might have guessed, because he's doing something that's a little bit unexpected politically. He's really put all his chips to the middle of the table. He is not, as I suggested, double tracking. He has not tried to lower expectations. He has, if anything, intensified the pressure on himself, because he keeps talking about the need to get a deal. You know, when pressured on the digital services tax, he gave it up in order to maintain the talks in the hopes of striking a deal. So he has deliberately put pressure on himself, and to be fair, on premiers, on business, on labor, to say, look, we gotta get a deal. But the challenge, of course, is no one knows if a deal with Donald Trump is possible, or even what a deal with Donald Trump might look like. So, you know, it's a test, but it's one that, intriguingly enough, the Prime Minister has heaped on his own shoulders, presumably in the belief that the best way to get a deal is to push without blinking or looking to the side for a deal.
Right, or responding to every word and action from President Trump when it comes to tariffs. I want to pop up the new Angus Reid numbers for you and just get your take. It seems that the majority of Canadians want a tough approach to dealing with Trump and the tariffs when it comes to the negotiations. 37% say they want a softer approach. And interestingly, most of those people were conservatives. How do you see this playing out? What do you make of these numbers that we're seeing, Scott?
So the assumption based on these numbers is that there's political risk in taking a deal that includes some sort of concessions on our part. But let's get real. Hard and soft are almost grade school terms for a situation like this. We're talking about jobs or not jobs. We're talking about having industry or not having industry. So if you're the Prime Minister, you look at these numbers and you shrug your shoulders and say, I don't have the luxury of taking that position. He can't, for the sake of his political ego, say, you know what, Donald Trump, go fly a kite. I'm not interested in any deal but the best possible deal and a perfect deal for Canada. The truth of the matter is we're going to have to make trade-offs, and here's why. They're 10 times our size. All of our experts virtually go to the United States. We are wildly dependent. And if the President of the United States should say, you know what, all those things that are protected under the U.S., Mexico, Canada Free Trade Agreement, they're off the table. We're going to tariff those as well. If he says we're going to move to tariff non-tariff sectors, industry, jobs, it could be catastrophic. So it's easy to sit on the other end of a phone from a polling company and say, well, let's be tough. I'm not giving in an inch. But if you're actually in charge of these talks, you have to take a much more practical, pragmatic, and frankly, holistic look at what it's going to mean for people, what it's going to mean for industries, and what it's going to mean for people's livelihoods. There's a hell of a lot at stake.
Scott Reid, great to see you this morning. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
The annual